What's up, guys? So we've had some technical difficulties. Mainly, my hard drive pretty much crashed. So I went out and got a new Dell laptop, and so far everything's good. Besides, I can't download my movie editor that I used to have on my HP. So, what I'm going to have to do until I can figure out my problem, if you know, please comment below. I'm going to have to use YouTube. So, only YouTube video editor. Don't know how well that's going to work out, so I'm just going to try to film one video and be able to just post it. Try to do a clean video, no cutting. But I am going to tell you everything that I couldn't film. What the fish were doing, how I was able to catch up to them and catch them, and so forth. I've actually got a list of things right here so I didn't forget, because it's been a month and there's a lot of changes, especially this time of year, in a month. So, first things first, I'm just going to tell you what the future is going to bring. We are going to be doing a lot of challenges. You might get some tournament footage, just a bunch of different lure challenges, trying out new things. It's gonna be pretty cool. So, I'm just gonna tell you a few stories of all the fish that I have caught, and then we're gonna jump right into the lures that I used. So first things first, what you guys seen last was the Crappie Jig Madness video. That was really fun. We caught tons of fish, went back several other times, caught a bunch more. Actually just went like last week and caught some more. It's just somewhere to go when we don't want to take the boat out. So, what I was catching them on, well, we'll get to that later in the video, but first things first, I was catching good quality fish, fishing deeper stuff, very pre-spawn fish about a month ago. So now we're in the stages of pre-spawn and spawn and post-spawn. So pretty much the very beginning of the spawn, where we've already had bass come off bed and move into post-spawn. Now, that being said, I've caught a lot of fish. Last night I just went off the bank and I caught 6 in one little sloop. Went to another place, caught 2 good ones, 2 keepers. But mainly what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to practice for a tournament. We had a tournament last Sunday and it was just complete crap. It was awful. I could not get anything bigger than a pound in the boat. The water I was fishing was very pressured, and I should have moved upriver versus fishing downriver, where there's always tournaments, there's always boats. It was my mistake. I knew where the fish were spawning, but I was just going into the tournament blind, hoping that I'd find some spawning fish close by to the ramp. I didn't feel like traveling far. It was very cold. That's actually why I'm not fishing today. We just had another cold front move in this morning. High winds. It's just awful. So, but that's regular springtime weather for you. 3 weeks ago I caught we were fishing a bank, and well, we started off wanting to bedfish. We went into the slough, found a bunch of bedfish, caught some, not a lot. We decided to, the next day, take the boat out, find some spawning fish, and try to catch them. So, I took the boat out and seen a lot of beds, but just could not get them. It was just a hassle. It was really windy, and everybody knows how the wind is. It's hard to bedfish in the wind. So, that didn't really work out. So I was like, let's just fish. So we knew a place that was just really good for fishing. And when I mean let's just fish, what I'm saying is let's just throw down the bed fishing, pick up some lures, try them out, try to figure out what these post-spawn, pre-spawn fish are doing. So that's what we did. Got into the first slough, threw a spook, popped it 4 or 5 times, ate it, 6-pounder. Fished around through that slough, came out, and went to the next slough. And I decided it's a little bit deeper. I'm not going to throw top water, I'm going to throw a crankbait. Let's go with a square bill. Caught a 8-pounder, and right after that caught a little dink. So fishing, just fishing, can catch fish and catch huge fish. You don't always have to bed fish to catch giants. Prove that point. So let's get to showing you guys it's kind of hard to tell stories without showing the lures. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much just going to go along with everything and pretty much explain everything. So first things first, after that Crappie Madness video, I decided to drop shot a little bit, and I caught a bunch of fish. Now, everybody knows what a drop shot is. I'm not going to really explain the rig. I'll show you what I was using on it. I was only about a foot up from the weight, and what I was using was just a baby brush hawk. Of course, this is not an actual color. Well, it is an actual color, but I did dip the tail in garlic. We'll get into that in a minute. But I would drop shot one of these, and I was catching a bunch of fish. So that's when they were in really, really, like, I don't even know if you could call it pre-spawn. It was before that. So as time went on, you know, fishing here, fishing there, I wasn't really fishing as much as I should have there for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe less. I don't really know. You know how fishing is. What I did is I went to the slough and I tried to pick it apart. And I tried something that I've never tried before, and that was the Mojo rig. I wanted to try it. So what I did is I got the stick bait. This is a stick bait from Blue Wolf Baits. You can find them on Instagram. I just seen that they're about to be throwing some lures in some stores, so check that out. The reason why I like Blue Wolf Baits, okay, is because it's really strong material. I mean, really strong. It's strong, it's thick, it's durable, and it still has a good movement. So what I was doing with this is obviously I would use just a regular old worm hook. Nothing special. It's a lot stronger in my opinion. So what I was doing is I was just Texas rigging this, and about a foot up I would put a little, I don't know if you could see that or not, but just a little snapshot weight, and I would just pop it off the bottom. Every time it was cold and we were getting warm weather in, that's what I was using, and I was catching tons and tons and tons of fish. Tons and tons of fish. So that worked out really, really good for me. Then we kind of got into this funk, and you know, a bunch of cold fronts back to back to back. The fish just started acting weird. So that's when I figured this fell out. This is pretty much like a swim jig, but with a wobble head. Made by Saudi Custom Tackle here in Tennessee, and it was to imitate like a bluegill or even a crawfish. And I would throw it on deep rock walls and try my best to keep it off the bottom, just right on the bottom. And I was catching a lot of fish with that. And so that was catching a ton of fish, a bunch of big ones. Then we started getting into this whole spawning funk, and we didn't even know it. It was very weird because we had no idea that the fish were spawning, and my buddy called me, and he was actually scouting a place for turkey and said he's seen a bunch of bass on beds. So I instantly reacted, and I was in the boat at this time. I instantly reacted and went to this little slough that I knew bass would always bed in. Sure enough, there was like 5 or 6. I ended up catching one of them, ended up leaving. Of course, that was the end of my day. So, then that brings us to spawn. My favorite all-time spawn bait has been for the past 3 years is a baby brush hog. And that is why I dip the tail in garlic. It looks more like a bluegill. Of course, this isn't the normal color that I usually use, but Big Bites had a good sale and I bought as many as I could. It was their closest color to Zooms. I don't know why I didn't grab the Zooms instead, because their color is more on point. Their bluegill pattern anyways. But they just, and plus I can see a darker lure in clear water on a big white bed a lot easier. But what I'm doing with this is I'm using a spot remover. Why I use a spot remover is because it's flat on the head and allows the bait to stand up. So what I'm doing is I was flipping past the bed and bouncing it in. Now some fish would eat it first try, some fish would eat it 5 minutes in, but every fish that I pitched this on, they ate it. Guaranteed. Now, that doesn't count if I spook them. If I spook them and I still pitch it in there, that's my fault. But if the fish is unspooked, has no idea that I'm there, and I flip this sucker in there, automatically eats it. It just, these tail right here, these twin tails right here symbolize like a little bluegill's fins. And I don't know. They just hate it. They hate it being on their bed. Like I said, I've caught a lot of fish first try with that. Also, you can fan cast these on a Texas rig with a bead. You know, if you're in a big spawning flat, fan casting. And you're going to pull it over a bed eventually, and you will catch that fish. So, I come to a place where the water's not clear, or maybe it's too dark outside to actually see the fish or see the bed as good as you want to. Good enough to see a darker bait. So, what I'll do is I'll use one of these brighter flukes, or like something really, really bright. Okay? And I will also throw this on a spot remover. I am able to see that really, really well on a bed, and that's why I throw it. So, I actually missed a spot. I actually missed a few lures. Now looking, this is, when I said I caught that 6-pounder, this is pretty much what it was on. It was actually on a Strike King, Sexy Dog. It was tied on my rod. I didn't feel like cutting it off, so I just brought this sucker down here to show you. This is one of my old bone white spooks that I have, but it's the same concept, a walking bait, a hard walking bait. So, this is a square bill I used. It is a citrus shad color. This is a H2O Express, personally my favorite square bill of all time, right here. I've caught so many fish on this, even now. This helped me in so many tournaments. This has helped me in so many bad days. I can pick this lure up and catch them guaranteed. Are they huge? Not every time, but it's a guaranteed fish. So that's why I love that bait. I love it to death. So now we're into this whole pre-spawn, post-spawn, spawn deal, and you can choose whatever you want to fish for. That's what I love about this time of year. You can fish pre-spawn, you can fish post-spawn, which is pretty much the same thing. They're both feeding, and they're both stocking up on points and stuff like that. So your spawn are going to be back in those coves. It's very easy to find spawn and post-spawn areas because obviously you go to the cove where they're spawning and you come out. You hit the first structure, and that's where they're going to be. What I've been doing to catch these the past few days is, well, I started off with a lizard, and this is a Magnum lizard, of course. Usually I'll throw this on a Carolina rig, have before, caught fish, but this guy right here. Now, what I've been doing with it is I've been throwing it on a spot remover. I love spot removers, okay? It's a hook and a weight in one deal. You can't beat it. It's got the best action too. So that's what I've been throwing it on. I caught a lot of fish on that 2 days ago. Ton of fish. Then, yesterday the water was a lot muddier and I had trouble catching it on the lizard. So, instead of throwing the lizard all day, I thought to myself, why not change lures? Let's throw something dark. Did I have a darker lizard? No. But these Reaction Innovations came out with this deal right here. I've never thrown it before. I couldn't get myself to throw it. I just couldn't. All it is a stick bait pretty much. I mean, you can wacky rig it, you do whatever you want. But, what did I throw it on? A spot remover. Why? Because I love a spot remover. But that's what I threw it on. And I started catching fish. I figure I started using it. Well, the bite turned off this. Not really. I actually broke off half of it because the one I had was just so tore up by how many fish I caught. Thing was, left it in the car, left the bag in the car, completely forgot about it. What I did is I did have these in my pocket. So, which brings us to the next lure. If I can open up the bag. Alright, this is a Super Salt Plus Trick Worm June Bug. Alright, it's got that bluegill color to it. Bam. What did I throw it on? Guess what? A spot remover. Alright, I caught a ton of fish on this yesterday too. I mean, I could not keep the fish off these things. Trick worms are a great way to catch a lot of fish. And you can work them slow, you can work them fast, you can do whatever you want with them. It's just all around good bait. So, I know I got a mess here right now. I'm probably forgetting something I'll figure out later, but this guy right here, alright, this is one of these new popper fish, pop and perch. That's what it is. Alright, this is what I'm using as a search bait. Okay, I'm looking for bass on beds. I'm finding them. But in between, I can throw this. This is pop and perch. You can catch fish that are on bedroom on these. Guaranteed. Okay? But, not only that, I'm just popping it through the trees, popping it through everything. I find a bed, I stop, reel this up, put it on the rod, and start flipping. Catch that fish off the bed, go to the next one, start throwing the pop and perch again. These pop and perches have a ginormous pop. I mean, it's a pop. So, anyways, hope you guys liked the video. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to post in like a month, I think is what it said. And last night I was sitting there thinking, I was like, screw it, I'm just going to use YouTube's video editor, I hope. Also, if you guys are wondering where I got this sick hat, I mean, awesome hat. It's a flex fit. I mean, this thing is just, I've been wearing it non-stop. I gotta buy some more. They've got so much gear, but I'm going to get more gear. And also, I'm gonna try to get a coupon for you guys, so you guys can get some awesome deals on hats and shirts and face shields, whatever you guys want. But check them out on Instagram, Keep It Real Fishing, and also I think it's www.keepitrealclothing.com, and you can find the stuff there. Or you can find the link in the bio of his Instagram page. Anyways, I'm not going to keep you guys too much longer. I hope these tips have helped you. But, as of right now, Sunday is my tournament. Yeah. What am I going to throw? Oh, Trick Nasty. On what? A spot remover. What am I going to do in between beds? Or in between areas? Oh, pop and perch. Hope you guys liked the video. Share, subscribe, like it. Valley Ridge Outdoors is out.